What if I told you the person they labeled the borrower is actually the one funding the loan, making you the creditor and not the debtor? Now, in this video, I'm going to be breaking down how your signature creates the credit, why you've been tricked into taking on the role of debtor, and how to shift your standing using the laws they don't want you reading. Now, I've studied uniform code, modern banking, and contract law, and I'm here to show you how to reclaim your rightful position in commerce. Now, happy Friday. Thank you guys for watching this video. You dig me? It's 8:30. Not right now, but it's going to be 8:30 when you watch this. Thank you. Okay? If you're brand new, remember to hit the like button. When you hit the like button, the algorithm pushes this type of content. And essentially, I'm going to be breaking down things that people won't talk about. People won't break down in simplest terms. People will try to break this down so that it's super confusing and you don't want to do it. Okay? I'm going to break down and break the barrier of the mystique behind debt discharge, reclaiming your status, and using it to your advantage. You dig me? Now, before we dive into this, this is not legal advice. This is not financial advice. Do not employ these strategies if, number one, you don't believe it. Number two, you won't do your due diligence. And number three, you are hoping for, it to be a magic lotion or potion to wipe out your debt or get you out of a dire situation. Okay? Do not employ these strategies until you fully know and learn and are ready to accept the educational portion of this and not just something that's just gonna take you away from working. The reality is that if you do anything in life, let's just say to better yourself so that you can stop bettering yourself, so that you can stop working, the law of attraction doesn't like that. Believe it or not, okay? It's just the same analogy. Hey, look, man, if I had $1 million, I would stop working. And that's exactly why the good Lord sees that you do not make or get $1 million. Okay? It's the same exact thing when it comes to debt discharge. I talk to plenty of people who say, I want to reclaim my status so I could stop paying my debts and stop, working so I can save a little bit of money. But they don't even know what they want to do with their money. They want to save their money so that they can go on trips and have fun, okay? They want to save their money so they can, still be able to benefit from the system but not have to work for it, okay? I do not condone that here, okay? We all have to work for whatever it is that we need in life, no matter what. Everything that you do is going to take energy. It's just a matter of where you're going to focus your energy, okay? If you're going to focus your energy on watching Netflix instead of tuning in to biz.nick, you dig me, spending 30 minutes watching my videos, and you decide to binge watch a Netflix series, you don't deserve to engage in these activities. And it's not even just my videos. There's plenty of people out here. If you're not willing to spend 30 minutes a day to educate yourself, even beyond the YouTube videos, and just going and reading the law yourself, I'm sorry, but you're not going to get far when it comes to consumer law, okay? I've been studying these concepts for the last 3 to 4 years and putting action to these concepts for the last 3 to 4 years, not really just watching a few things and then not really taking any action, okay? So let's just dive into this before I get in a rant session, okay? Remember to hit the subscribe button, turn on the post notifications as well, okay? Now, here's what the system teaches you, okay? You're taught that you are borrowing money. You are taught that the bank is doing you a favor, and you were taught that you owe debt, okay? But that's not how money works in a fiat and credit-based system. You dig me? You signed a promissory note, and they created the money after you signed. So the question that you ask is, if the money didn't exist until you signed, who really lent who? Okay? When you look at the Truth in Lending Act, it breaks down the definition of a creditor. A creditor is a natural person or an organization. So if I pull up the Truth in Lending Act, 15 U.S.C. 1601, guys, tap into it, because the understanding of these laws is going to be more important than, having a letter or template. Okay? So, boom, when you come here, 15 U.S.C. 1601 or 15 U.S.C. 1602, it breaks down the definition of the term credit. Credit means the right granted by a creditor to a debtor to defer payment of debts or to incur debt and defers payment. Let's click what creditor is highlighted, okay? It says, the term creditor refers to only a person who both regularly extends, whether in connection with loans, sales of property, services, or otherwise consumer credit, which is payable by agreement in more than full installments, or for which the payment of a finance charge is or may be required. So the key thing is the definition of a creditor. It says that it refers only to a person. Now let's look at the definition of a person. The term person means a natural person or an organization. Now, we cover this all the time in my videos. Dig me? And a lot of times we'll come from a perspective of, not really understanding the position that you're in and why debt discharge, or why you can be able to challenge debt collectors and challenge the origin of the debt. You don't even need negotiable instruments to be able to put yourself in a position to close debt or settle debt. If you just understand this key term right here, person, means a natural person or an organization under the Truth in Lending Act, you already know that creditor only refers to a person. So the person will say, okay, what is an organization? An organization means a corporation, government, governmental subdivision, agency, trust, estate, partnership, cooperative, association. So in the aspect of you saying, okay, damn, what is a natural person or an organization? The natural person is that living, breathing person. You dig me? Your skin, your body, right? Living thing. And an organization is a corporation. You're a straw man. So you have to have both in order to be a creditor. Now, when you look at the bank can only be an organization. So let's move on. All right. This is one of the lies and what the system doesn't tell you. The system will put this in place, but they don't teach you it. Okay. You're taught that you're borrowing money from a bank and the bank is doing you a favor and you have to pay the bank back. They say that the companies that issue credit cards are creditors, but how can they be a creditor if they're not a natural person? Well, they say, well, they have natural people working there. Well, no, that's not the company. The company is considered a dead entity. It's considered a corporation. It's a piece of paper. A piece of paper cannot create credit unless a natural person gives value, signature, and belief into that piece of paper. You guys understand me? I mean, so if the question is, if the money didn't exist, or if that piece of paper didn't have value until you signed it, who is really the creditor? Who really lent who? All right. So down to my next section. Your signature equals a negotiable instrument under UCC 3-104. All right. Under UCC 3-104, which is a negotiable instrument, it means a unconditional promise or order to pay a fixed amount of money with or without interest. So if you write in a letter and you make an unconditional promise to pay something, that has now become a negotiable instrument. Well, someone will say, well, if I do a remittance coupon, if I do a money order, if I do this certain method and this, that, and the third, it doesn't matter. If you unconditionally promise to pay something, it is something that is of value to the bank. You guys gather that, all right? The reason why you will watch my YouTube videos on a consistent basis is so that this can be etched in your brain. There's people who will get on the phone with me and it's almost like they aren't getting this part. They're focused on, a bill of exchange. They're focused on a type of negotiable instrument instead of understanding the simple fact that a negotiable instrument is a unconditional promise or order to pay a fixed amount of money. Okay? Again, if you look at what a promissory note is, okay? A promissory note is as simple as I, Jane Monroe, do promise to pay City Finance Code the sum of $50,000. Repayment is to be made in the form of 300 equal payments at 6% interest, $322.15 payable on the first of each month beginning 8/1/2005 until the total debt is satisfied. That is a unconditional offer of money. And again, it's not put on no bond paper. You know what I mean? It can literally be handwritten. All right. So when you see something like this and someone will say, okay, well, do I do a coupon? Do I do a bill of exchange? Which one is better? Think again. Okay. So All right, so now we understand what a negotiable instrument is. As simple as you promising to pay something, and the thing is that you don't know is that that promise to pay is enough value to be able to get the credit for them to create the credit. So creating the credit is just them putting the digital book entry in your bank account or unpaid balance into your bank account, which is a deposit. So if that's enough, then there's nothing else to be paid. If they actually loaned you money, then yes, you'll have to follow those terms. But if they don't, and they just give you credit based off of your promise to pay that was created by your promise to pay, there is nothing to be paid. So let's go to understanding that when you do this, create a negotiable instrument, the bank records it as an asset and then credits your account. Okay? They never risk their existing money, and you, the signer, created the value, therefore you are the creditor. You can easily argue that you are the creditor because guess what? The question is, what does a creditor do? A creditor extends credit, provides value, and gets paid back. But in this system, they flipped it. So you're the one providing the value and then becomes the one stuck paying back the value that you provided. And this is why we challenge them and ask them on their consideration. What value did they exchange to our value? You know what I mean? So it goes beyond a coupon. It goes beyond a 1099. It goes beyond writing a bill of exchange. It goes beyond all of that BS that you were taught, that this is the way that you're supposed to discharge debt. And if you fill out these forms a proper way, then you're going to be able to discharge debt. No, they're going to challenge your unconditional promise. And you got to know how to be able to send a conditional acceptance and challenge them on their consideration. Okay? Challenge them on the origin of the credit. Because as soon as they say, well, you can't use this, then you got to go back at them and say, well, what rule says that I can't? Okay? You have to shift the burden of proof onto them. Now, I'm jumping the gun right now, but just understand that they flipped the system on your head, and they flipped the system because they want you to be trapped in a debt system. Okay? It's an energy exchange. It's a spiritual trap. It's a spiritual enslavement. And part of the enslavement is having you go to work to pay bills and thinking that that's what all life is about. But life isn't all about that. Okay? And I'm not saying this for the person to do this because they want to stop paying their bills. I promise you, it'll take the same amount of energy to learn this as it is to pay your bills. If you're not willing to learn this to its full capacity, if you're not willing to go and watch the full all the videos from previously, I've been posting every day since January 1. So if you're not willing to go back and watch every single video, and then on top of that, do your own education and due diligence, how can you expect to benefit as much as you want to benefit to the point where you're not paying any debts? How do you expect to? You know what I mean? If you can't put together a letter or an affidavit of truth, or if you're not willing to sit down and write a letter to the debt collector, why do you expect to not have to pay a debt just because you feel like you shouldn't? Okay. So now we're about to talk about the laws that support this shift in standing. All right. Now, we talk about these laws all the time, and I don't know if, and for the people that watch the videos on a consistent basis, you guys know this, but for the new people, we're going to show you again. For the people who still, who claim, okay, I watch every single video, they may not get to this part. They probably just get to the exciting part in the beginning, and they don't have the attention span to see the laws that I go over, nor the attention span to go and research these things on their own. Look, and that's the beauty of having your own platform. You can rant all you want. You can talk your shit. And whatever the case may be, the people who are on the right frequency will understand it. But there's going to be people who definitely get offended by this stuff. But it's totally fine. I tell anybody, all right, look, man, if you have something to talk about, if it's something that you talk about a lot, go ahead and create a platform. I mean, and you can be all you can be. You can say all you want. Be safe, though. You know what I mean? They are watching. I mean, not that I truly care about that, but you never know. P. Diddy may knock on my door. He going through a court case right now. He could use me. I ain't going, you know what I mean? So, all right, bet. Let's talk about 12 U.S.C. 411, okay? Issuance to reserve banks, the nature of obligation and redemption, okay? Federal Reserve notes to be issued at the discretion of the Board of Governor of Federal Reserve System for the purpose of making advances of Federal Reserve Bank through Federal Reserve agents as hereinafter set forth for no other purpose are authorized. The said notes shall be obligations of the United States and shall be receivable by all national and member banks and Federal Reserve banks for all taxes, customs, and public dues. Okay? So part of this, and then it also says they shall be redeemed in lawful money on demand at the Treasury Department of the United States within the city of Washington, D.C., or at any Federal Reserve Bank. So long story short, it says only lawful money discharges debt, not promises or book entries. So if I told you that your dollar didn't discharge debt, if I told you that a book entry didn't discharge debt, if I told you that a promise to pay didn't necessarily discharge debt, and the only way that you're going to be able to, pay for debt is if you use lawful money, then you will have to ask yourself, okay, if they never gave me lawful money, then they're not really a true creditor, okay? If they didn't fund the transaction, then they are not a true creditor, okay? So then we dive into modern money mechanics. Modern money mechanics, I'm just pulling up this here. You can go on Google and look up modern money mechanics.pdf. It's going to be at the top, or you can buy the book for only what is it? I don't know how much it costs right now. $12. This is no promo. All right, so you can go and you can get all of this research and information for free, or you can just pay it so you can have the paperback book. But long story short, it says that banks do not lend money. They create it based on a borrower's promise to pay. That's the whole premise of under this section where it says who creates money. Okay, then the bankers discovered that they could make loans merely by giving their promise to pay or bank notes to borrowers. In this way, banks begin to create money. All right, that's modern money mechanics. Dig me? I talk about these things and I show you this so that you can have the confidence so that your mindset can shift. It's not that you're going to use this for every single argument because you don't necessarily always have to argue these points to them. They already know it. It's more about you knowing it and you having the confidence to be able to challenge them on whether or not they are properly performing, or whether they are truly giving the value that they say they are giving. You call them out and have them provide proofs. It's not that you got to prove this stuff to them either. They know it already. All right. So let's dive into value and consideration. Okay. Value consideration is essentially saying that a party must give lawful consideration to enforce an instrument. So it must be real value given to you or exchanged in order for them to enforce your agreement to pay something back. Okay? Because that would have been your exchange, right? If they actually loaned you money, you would have to come back to them and say, you know what? I have to pay you back. But what if they never paid you anything? What if they never loaned you anything? What if they never risked their money? What if they told you that they risked their money, but they actually never did? Okay? The contract is not supported if they didn't follow what they said they was going to do in a contract. Okay? So this dives into my next point, which is UCC 3-305, which gives you the ability and the right to challenge a company who doesn't have proper consideration. Okay? If there was no value exchange under UCC 3-305. UCC 3-305 cut with 3-303, cut with understanding modern money mechanics, cut with understanding how Federal Reserve money is created and how lawful money is the only thing that can actually pay debts. You dig me? This is where your whole mindset should shift when it comes to understanding that you are the person that creates the credit. They aren't actually exchanging value. You can challenge a company on whether or not they've actually exchanged real value. And once you understand these laws, it's not that you're going to use them for every argument. It's more for you to understand so that you know what to expect, so that you know how to challenge them. Because I'm going to tell you guys how to challenge it at the end. Now, if you got all the way this far, go ahead and click the like button. Okay, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Go ahead and turn on the post notifications because I do post Monday through Fridays. Friday today, we're going to take a 2-day break. We're going to be back on Monday. So make sure to turn on the post notifications and subscribe. You know what I mean? Now, for those of you guys that watch me, if there are any other laws you want me to talk about, drop it in the comment section down below. You dig me? I've seen some of you guys drop some laws and bangers. I haven't gotten a chance to really go take a look at those, but we'll go take a look at those and we'll create a YouTube video on those and how to apply it to the situation. Now, here's why everything that I talk about matters when it comes to these laws, okay? Knowing you are the creditor flips the power dynamic. See, you think that they have the power, but the reality is they don't. Okay, they don't have the power. You have the power. And once you understand that you have the power, then you will start to exercise yourself differently. You won't put them on a pedestal, and you won't put them in a position of power, because you'll know that you are the one that created this. Like your boy off 40-year-old virgin. He said, look, I run this. You know what I mean? You came in my house and now you got to bounce. Look, I don't remember everything he said, but he said, I run this. You know what I mean? You in my hood. You feel me? And then that's when Kevin Hart was like, okay, that's your boy? Is that your boy? Yeah. Yes, that's my boy. Yeah. You thought you was going to come up in here. He said, okay. Both of y'all. I bet. So, boom. That's the energy you got to have. But you can't have that energy if you don't really, truly, see the law for yourself. Truly believe in that law, okay? And the only way you'll believe it is if you actually read it. And if you read it, then you'll have the full education and understanding. See, you wouldn't believe that 2 + 2 = 4 unless you've actually studied the math behind it. And that's the beauty about math. I'll say that laws are very similar to math, okay? Math, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about the math. That's why some people, especially, the 5%ers or the hoteps, or even in some cultures, they say, hey, what's the maths? You feel me? They want to know the facts or whatever the case may be. This is why math, and measurements and things of that nature really give the truths of the world. I won't dive into that, but you know that 2 + 2 = 4. In no other circumstance could you take 2 cups, you feel me? This is 2 cups. This is not 4 cups. 1 + 1 = 2. 1 + 1 doesn't equal 3. You feel me? Only have my coffee mug here. I mean, it's crazy. I got these cups here. I need to put these up. Now understand that you really gain the right, once you understand this, to challenge contracts, demand accounting, enforce lawful remedy, and move in commerce as the source of value. Now, you cannot move in commerce as a source of value. You cannot get lawful remedy. You cannot demand accounting. You cannot challenge contracts until you know how to do it. Until you know the laws that back you up. Until you know that you have the right to do this. Or else you'll think that if I send this, is it going to work? You can't have that. You won't have that mindset if you know the laws. Okay, so most people operate as a surety. Surety is someone who is is technically someone responsible for the debt. Okay, backing debt that they didn't create. But when you stand as the creditor, you hold the authority. They make you sign as a surety and a grantor, saying that you have primary obligation to it and secondary obligation to it. But the whole point of it is to know your position, know that you're a creditor, so that you can stop begging and start directing. Okay? Now, I'm going to talk about how to reclaim your creditor status. Now, this can, go many which ways. May do a separate video on this. But number one, you want to file affidavits declaring your status. Okay? Even on the aspect of you sending a letter, challenging a company, or sending an affidavit of truth, right? Telling them who you are, is you declaring your status, okay? At least to that person that you're privately communicating with. Some of us think that we got to do this, we got to fill this form, this, that, and third. All of that does help. That will be able to put that out there in the public. But privately, you can communicate with the debt collector and let them know who you are, okay? And if they don't want to believe you, then you shift the burden of proof onto them and send them a conditional acceptance demanding proof of loan origination. If they want to say that you're not the creditor, have them prove that they actually funded the loan. Okay. Then number two, you want to use the administrative process to perfect your standing. The administrative process is a collection of presentments of you enforcing your claims. And it's private communication. This is something that you can bring up in court. If you take a company through an administrative process, you declaring your status, you sending a conditional acceptance, having them shifting the burden of proof and have them provide proof that you aren't the creditor, and you do this over an administrative process, notice of fault, notice of dishonor, you feel me? Having them defaults when they don't provide those proofs, and then obviously you can say, hey, look, man, if you guys cannot respond or rebut point for point, then everything that I say stands in truth, and they try to take you to court, you just bring the evidence to court. I hope you guys gathered that. Rewind it, go back and listen to it again. Now, part of these, you want to demand lawful consideration and proof that they risked their own money. If they didn't risk their own money, if they didn't actually exchange value, then there was nothing that was funded. If there was nothing funded, then what are you paying interest on? What are you paying for? Okay? If they didn't do what they said they was going to do, why do you have to do, if they didn't fund it and you funded it, why are you paying back something that you created? Boom. Now, always sign documents reserving your rights under UCC 1-308. Okay, UCC 1-308 is the reservation of rights. It's saying, hey, I reserve my rights under these premises, and anything I do not knowingly agree to, there is no meeting of the minds. I want to be able to reserve my rights, and you can't say that I agreed to something that you never fully disclosed to me. And then the whole point is you are the source. So start acting like it. Start acting like you are the creditor and stop acting and begging for them to do something for you. You don't have to go in there and cry and complain and say, hey, well, I fell on hard times and this, that, and the third. It doesn't matter. You are the power. You are the authority. You know what I mean? So you have been trained to see yourself as the debtor, but the truth is your energy, your signature, your trust are what fund this entire system. You are the creditor. You just forgot. Feel me? It's time to open our mind. It's time to get out of this matrix. It's time to start questioning the people and those higher powers that claim that they are the higher powers, that claim they are the superiors, that claim that they are the authority. But like I said, you gotta be in the 40-year-old virgin tip. Don't be a 40. I mean, I don't care if you're a 40-year-old virgin. That may be good. You feel me? But in like the movie, this is my house. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's why I'm on here. Tank top. I don't care. This is my house. This is my platform. You know what I mean? Can't nobody tell me how I'm going to come on this platform. Can't nobody tell me how I'm going to utilize my credit. And can't nobody not tell me how my credit is being used. Okay? I make the decisions for myself, not them. And if I decide to stop paying them, I will be okay with it. Because guess what? I know laws. I know how to challenge them. If they try to harass me about the debt, I know how to challenge them if they put the things on my credit report. I know how to send letters to the credit bureaus, and not only the credit bureaus, but also to the debt collectors. You dig me? This is an understanding that everybody should learn and not just try to go pay somebody to do it. This is something that I've given away for free so that you can do it on your own. But guess what? If you want somebody to do it for you, this is why you can tap into my mentorship down below. Okay. Now, if you do decide to work with me, given the fact that I do give the free game already, it's not going to be cheap. Okay. For my time, effort, and attention, you're going to have to put that bread up. So it's got to be more important to you to learn this than to just, oh, I just want to get it done. Okay. Because I'm not an attorney. You know how much attorneys cost? Okay. So that link will be in the description down below. If you want to learn how to do this on your own, the complete that guide is down below. And I suggest you tap in right now because the price that it is right now is actually very low comparatively to what it actually can be. Okay. And this goes hand in hand with my YouTube video. So if you do tap into the complete debt guide, make sure you are tapping into the free YouTube videos of me breaking down and filling in those gaps, and you use the complete debt guide as a resource tool, something that you can always come back to, because you never know if these videos will stay up on the internet. Okay, but just know the complete debt guide will always have all of my YouTube videos and all my content. Grab the complete debt guide. Now down below, also you can tap in on my Instagram at biz.nick. Shoot me a follow. Okay, you shoot me a follow, you'll be able to get updates when I drop a YouTube video. I drop a YouTube video every day, Monday through Friday at 8:30 p.m. We're going crazy. I think we've been doing this for 90 days straight, okay? We've reached 20,000 subscribers, on our way to 50K. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Turn on the post notifications. And my last question is, have you ever wondered who really created the value in your loan? Let's talk about it in the comment section. If you got all the way to the end, comment the word discharge. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time. Ha!